Hey everybody. Hey everybody. Sorry I'm so late. I couldn't get on. I'm sure everybody kind of in right now and it's snowing. So guys, Garden and Kathy are both on. I know my cousin lives here. It's been kind of wild. It's like really bad. So we'll see. We'll give this a go anyway. Penny packing the stick of this weather. Yeah, depending where you are, I've got friends in all over the country. Just go anyway. But like I was saying, um, it must be storming bad for you. It's storming. It's not terrible here. It's like coming and going. They said we would be under high winds all day, and then we didn't have any. Terrible. Penny, foothills of North Carolina. I saw some footage from North Carolina. It looks like it's pretty intense out there. So especially since you're not used to it. It looks like my connection is going to come and go. Hopefully, it's going to stabilize in the middle of a big snowstorm. Everybody in the U.S. and it's like all over the place. But I was at a link fence and tore the bejesus out of the fence. This is the last time, given that my Fi see their connection is coming and going, and I don't know if it's just the weather or the yeah, that okay, maybe that fixed it. We'll see. Shy's Garden, I wanted to say thanks for that info. By the way, I convinced my town to approve quail and update the rabbit limit with our ordinances. Hey, that's great. That is great. I'm glad that that was able to happen for you. And that's always frustrating when you're in city limits or HOAs or any of that, and you've got to like go to bat to have stuff on your own property. So, um, that's awesome. That's really awesome that you're going to be able to do that. Did they give you like totals on how much you can have? Because I think that's really cool. Because I know you had said the rabbits were all right. And on our quail front, I took the last batch of babies that were born like 2 weeks ago, hatched 2 weeks ago, outside today because the little buggers. If you saw that video that Kanan took, fly out of there, and it was driving me crazy. So I don't have a lid for that container that they're in. So they got like a pizza box and some wire racking over the top of it. It's very ghetto. But we got it. We got it where they weren't getting out. Temporary assignment, and they would ask, "What are those? What's the noise? Do you have birds in the process of them get caught, or just bemoan it and bed?" And I just kept hearing them peep funny, and I thought, "What is going on in there?" Of the most, other than that, so most of the slush is so bad, and I think that's going to be probably about 3-4 weeks from now. So I'll be in full blown hatch season by then. Partner, hey from clouds, hey to you back down. So winter and spring, and it's just kind of happening yet. I get a day or two of work, and then it kind of falls off. Like one of my big projects over the next month and a half is going to be pulling all of the cage net, especially with the bigger rabbits. They bounce the wire and they fatigue and windstorm and I see Carol's on. Hey, Carol from BC. You guys probably have a little snow up there too. Once it starts, you've got to like go out and come back in, and sometimes that'll fix it. Strawberry Fields Homestead, Leslie. Thanks. Okay, choosing ear numbers for your rabbits. Oh, now it's gonna buffer again. Her initials, so VJ and then whatever number. So she literally had a printout and then added into her system. And I think when she got out of Rabbit, she was like 191 or something. I have always done an initial for the mom, what litter number, an initial for the my other pop up because that's what the clan will do if you're pen. No. Yeah, so doing your numbers for your rabbits, you can do anything, literally anything that works out for you. So, you guys, go and how did your trip to get the new bunnies go? It went great. So we did have great weather, luff, and it was actually my girlfriend went with me because she was picking up some stuff around there. It was almost 70, pretty hard before we even got to the show. We weren't there very long. It was very crowded. I don't know that I'll ever want to go show there. I don't like showrooms where you feel like you're walking all over people and where they had everybody stacked out. They were way too close to the tables. And that's not like a COVID thing so it was really hard to walk through there, but the trip down went fine. The trip back was pretty of a long day. This may end up if this thing and on the way back from picking up those rabbits, I don't know if this is gonna work or not. Penny Pack, I want to thank you for all the information you provide. You are welcome. I try to do the best that I can. Some super hard to do right now. So oh, due to our dog having isolation anxiety, we had to replan our trip out to you to get my other days. We don't think about it too much because we're home and together all the time. But when I went, both dogs seemed a little stressed out. Mom wasn't home. So they did okay, but they nice when they're trying to climb all over you after a long day in the car. So it's just kind of the way it is. Let's see. So that, like I said, that's about the big stuff that's going on. So the rabbits are getting settled in. Um, two of them. So we had a mix up. The one gal shorted me on rabbits, which was cool because I didn't pay for them till I got there. So one of the does that I was picking up for my cousin didn't happen. She's sitting in Oregon City in that whole no power mess. So she's not going to be able to come tomorrow, which is fine. Um, so I've got a bucket of dough for her, but I brought home 11 rabbits total. So I brought 9 home for me and then 2 for her. And one of those is an English lop. I know I posted pictures in a couple of places. I brought home an English lop doe to go with English lop buck. Just kind of a side project because we know I need another one of those. Um, and yeah, she's super cute. She's a junior yet, huge. Like I haven't weighed her, but she's got to be 7 over. So she baby satins in an S box, and yeah, that's kind of the high points of things going on around here. Making lots of plans for the year and not able to do a whole lot of it. Penny, can I ask a stranger question? Is it possible for he was working himself to death and I reached in there to look and it was soft? Um, well, I've never had that come up, to be honest. I would imagine low testosterone or low hormone this time of year especially would be possible and cause some kind of erectile dysfunction type thing. I'll have to do some research there. I got to tell you, I've never had that come up, so I'm not. I mean, at the end of the day, a rabbit is a mammal like anybody else, so I gotta imagine that that's possible. I don't know. I'm gonna have to do some research. I'll be honest, I have no answer. Okay, so Emma, I'm very sick of this weather. It's supposed to be 30 below tonight, and we may have rolling blackouts, so I'm ticked off. Where are you, Emma? Because I've a friend of mine in Texas is dealing with rolling blackouts and really frustrated over the whole thing. So I know how that goes. And I lost my first entire litter this afternoon. So sad. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. It's bred that are having litters right now, and they either have rabbits in their house or wherever. And sometimes that's not helping because some people don't have heat right now either. So yeah, that's a bummer. Ice is a word I can think of. I think that's really what it is. South central Nebraska. Yeah, that's cold. I mean, that's cold. When I uh first moved here, the first what two well, the first winter we managed to hit 30 below here, which was pretty wild because I had just come out of Mississippi and got here and was like, no, so much no. But we made it. We gardeners used to that in Klamath a whole lot because we're further out. But we've got most winters we get below zero. This year, I don't guess we're going to because we're only at zero now. But Emma, our power somehow connected with Texas, so we're having the same having having to have blackouts to help Texas. That's a bummer. And it came on today, and they had it for like an hour and a half, and then it was gone again. So it's a bummer for sure. We've had some here in Sprague River, even some power outages, but being off grid, we never seem to know about it until we see somebody complaining online about it. Because our power, we've had our own difficulties with our power here lately, but for the most part, we're our own little power plant, so we don't deal with that a whole lot. But that does mean if it's, you know, snowed 6 inches overnight, we're out there cleaning the panels or scrubbing dirt off of them in the summer or whatever. So still a bummer. Well, hopefully you stay warm out there. Do you have heat other than electric? Because that seems to be the thing that's getting a lot of people is not having a heat source that's not electric, or they've got like pellet stoves that still need electricity. So, neck of the woods. Everybody else seems to be cold, wet, and tired of pretty much everything. So, let's see. Past that, I'm working on itineraries for classes, layouts, all that kind of stuff. Cookbook work is still happening. I have absolutely guaranteed myself it will be back or be out in April. Whether that's April done, I haven't cooked it recently to get pictures for the cookbook because a cookbook without pictures sucks. That's just my opinion, but let's see. So Emma says our lot is the size of a day of postage stamps and no solar. Kerosene heater, enough care to last maybe 7 days. Well, hopefully they get it all sorted out for you, and 7 days will be more than enough. Um, the coldest I ever experienced with 25 below in Bly. I believe it. Bly gets about as cold as we do. And I think I was a little colder than even some of Sprague River that year because we are down kind of in a valley on the Klamath side of Sprague River. So we had a lot of like cold air sinking in here. Uh, that's the emergency heat. Forced air, natural gas is the house heat. Well, that's not bad. Ramen propane truck got stuck in my yard 2 days ago. Yeah, that's not good. That's not what you want to have happen. The propane truck being stuck is no fun. um, One of the top demands I had when we searched for our house was having a wood stove as a backup heat source out here in Montana. So grateful for it. It saved us when the power goes out. Yeah, that's right. You're in Montana. So yeah, a wood stove is a really, really smart idea, especially up there. Our main heat here is wood, and then we have a propane heater as a backup that I don't even think we've turned it on in over a year. So I don't know. Hope I don't have to. When I run it, it's like I hear the pennies dropping. Like oh, it's costing me money. The wood stove doesn't cost as much since we cut our own firewood. Um, so I'm working on lots of videos. Like I said, if I can get any kind of weather friendly day that I can get out there and try and finish some of this stuff. We've had a lot more people interested in the Female Farmer Fridays. I don't know if anybody's really watching those or not, but I had 2 emails today, or in the last 2 days, I guess. The other one is from Kentucky, I wanna say. So I've got those coming up. Still looking for someone kind of West Coasty to do that. If anybody is interested in doing that, or I mean, I don't care where you're at. If you'd like to participate in the Female Farmer Friday thing, just send me an email to our email address, and then we can chat and figure out a time that works for everybody's schedule. I've gone into town a couple of times to do interviews just because our internet can be a little wonky, but um, so far it's working pretty good. So Elijah, hello. Sorry I'm late. That's okay. It's been acting kind of funny anyway, so you're here at the perfect time. It seems to have straightened out a little bit. Um, so in other interesting news, I guess, since we were talking about rabbits a minute ago, when I was done at the Red Bluff show, I talked to Alan Messick, who kind of runs KW Cages. He's not real sure what his title is. I think he's like sales manager down there or whatever. Alan is a judge with ARBA, and he's also just really well connected in the rabbit world. He's been overseas and judged, and he's done a bunch of different stuff. But he's one of our I can't remember what they actually call him. It's like a international liaison or whatever. So he gets pretty involved with shipping rabbits overseas. And this is something I've had a lot of people asking me about lately. And as far as I knew, we couldn't ship out of the country at all. Apparently, we can. The big thing is that it's really interesting because there's big demand in like India and Indonesia and the Philippines. And right now they're shipping, and I'm going to forget this because it's been a couple weeks now, but I think he said they were shipping into Malaysia, air shipping. And then once they're getting the rabbits into Malaysia, they're overland hauling them, how I don't know, into these countries because they can cross, I guess, the border from Malaysia or some of these other countries into countries with these animals, but you can't fly direct from the United States. So it's kind of interesting. So anybody that's overseas that's looking to get into some US stock, you can get a hold of Alan Messick over at KW Cages. You can probably send him an email to their rabbitry or their cage company, and they'd get it to Alan because he handles a lot of that. Jim's in town gardening. Hello, everyone. Hey, Jim, how's it going out there? Elijah, you broke up. Shipping live rabbits. Yes, you can ship rabbits overseas. They, and I don't know a whole lot about it. I know that they basically cargo container them and fly them on certain planes. They can fly them, and they fly them overseas. And then from there, I don't know how they're doing it. I assume when he told me overland, I assume they're sticking them on a truck and driving them. But I don't know much more about it than that because we don't do a lot of that kind of shipping in the United States. If I get more information from Alan, I'll pass it along because I think the whole shipping overseas thing is really interesting. So, getting ready for a big storm tonight and tomorrow. You and everybody else. If you haven't had a storm already, it seems like another one is coming. So, it's been really mild for us, like really mild. Ranger Rob. Hey, Ranger Rob. I guess out there in Central Oregon, it's probably not bad out there either because it's not been too terrible down here. Mostly it's the I-5 corridor in Oregon that's been screwed up. So, wretched polar vortex. I had a conference call with my board of directors for the Emerita, and I told her she needed to come down here and get her weather because the United States was sick of it. That's not going to work, and she didn't find that funny. She said she didn't want it either. She's barely into Canada, just over the border from Washington, so she's not exactly used to the big snow either. So starting to melt. Yeah, that's how we are too, and it's just from here on Thursday. Wow, Maine has been really mild till the last couple weeks. I think that's been the case for a lot of people. It's been really mild this winter, and then it's just kind of slammed everybody all at once. So used to this. I mean, like Texas isn't used to this, and the blindsided and not prepared for any of this because it just doesn't happen. We lived in Mississippi for I want to say 9 years, and it snowed like it shuts everything down because they don't have any infrastructure to deal with that kind of stuff. So the rest of us, it doesn't seem like any of us got it this year. So go figure that. So I will kind of turn it over if anybody has questions. I've been getting a few on YouTube, but it seems like it's generally the same old stuff of do we ship, when do you breed, best breeds. Most of you have seen all those videos, so there's no point in answering those same questions again. Um, I'd be happy to though if somebody wanted to ask. Jim, I have a question on rabbits. Questions on anything of this bombard my wets here. What are your thoughts pro organs? I absolutely love breed. So there's a video turns. Now I absolutely line breed. In particular, we have a lot of junk DNA causing marking issues, size issues, that kind of stuff. Careful on what breed you're putting blood in there. The Americans are pretty against it. They don't really like the line breeding. The Trianta gene pool tends to be so I don't have a problem with it, and I do it even in my Americans. And if somebody go cold, very, very heavy, and three, be prepared for the unexpected. I just picked up an American line that the gal said, "Oh, a program where we're working on red American." So they had the idea of line breeding in the one line. American doesn't do any good. So, Shy's Garden, have you tried using rabbit urine as a pesticide? I haven't and I have not read up on it enough to know too much work to try and separate the urine from uh, the droppings. And I haven't done it. Let's see, Jim. All of my does are gathering hay around 10 days before the next boss should go in. Okay. You can put the box in early. I don't. Bathroom. I try not to go any earlier than 5 days, but if you've got does packing a lot of hay, if they're packing a lot of hay and they seem really neurotic, nervous about it, just let them have it. As long as they're not making a mess on it, I don't see any reason why that's not okay. If your turkey starts laying it, sort of. I have a hen. This would be her second laying cycle. Started in January, so somewhere this poor little hen's cycle is completely screwed up because like by June or July she quit laying last year. So barely hatched anything ever because I just don't start incubating that early. The rest of the flocks aren't doing anything yet. We've got a few chicken eggs, and of course the quail are laying, but she's the only turkey laying, and I don't know why she's so off. The first year I kind of expected it because she was young going in, and sometimes that happens, but why she's doing it this year, I have no idea. She shouldn't be. We don't have the light levels yet. Temperature is another thing, but light levels is a huge part of it. And she isn't getting enough light at this point to be needing to lay. So I'm not really sure why she's out about collecting rabbit urine. Oh, this buffering is driving me nuts. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the whole process to try to collect rabbit urine would be, but most of the urine will drain out, but the poop won't, and they clean it daily. Hmm. Okay. KW, and it all kind of, and then you wash the manure out when you need to. So yeah, I guess you could. I guess I've never really thought about it. The way mine's set up is it just kind of goes into a ditch because I don't have time to deal with that. But that's kind of interesting. I would, urine tends to be high in salt. I mean, no matter what you're feeding. So I don't know if I'd want to be, if you diluted it down, it would be okay, I think. But that would be my big thing. It would be good. You're right. It would be good for a pesticide, but I think I'd be really kind of nervous about spraying. Heppard is a great natural pesticide. I'm going to give it a go, but was curious if you have or not. Be worried about too many salts being sprayed on your plants. But I think it would depend on how often you used it and that kind of thing. I also would wonder what you would be spraying it on because you'd probably want to be really careful about, like lettuces or anything like that that might absorb that kind of like heavy urine flavor. Yeah, that I don't know. It sounds gross to me, to be honest. I know urine has its place in gardening and everything else, but I'm not gonna lie, it sounds gross. So, okay, Elijah, I have a 10-month-old lionhead doe who has never been bred, and she's made a huge nest, taking up half of a 3 by 4 hutch. She's pulled a ton of hair and is very vocal. It's always something. I've had harlequins do that. Not quite that big of a hutch. Usually they're in 30 by 30s, but I've had harlequins blanket the entire bottom of their pen, which is really frustrating because it's so hard to get all that hair out of the wire. But um, some of them are funky like that. They get real excited about it. It always seems to me that the does that build the most elaborate nests then will proceed to do something stupid like have them in the box that they've pulled all the nesting material out of and then not understand why the babies didn't make it. So, Robin, I think the one I was watching in Africa, they were diluting it and they were making good money. Well, that's kind of interesting. I'm sure they had to have been diluting it because otherwise I would think that the salts would be too high. And rabbits will get urine scald and things too, so I have to imagine there are other things in there that would cause burning, I would think. I wanna say the rabbit urine is high in nitrogen too, so I don't know. Like I said, I'd have to do more research on it. I saw it vaguely mentioned and kinda moved on with it. Fair enough, and yeah, it's not a very appealing concept for sure. I gotta head back to bed back head to bed now, but thanks for the feedback and thoughts. I hope you enjoy the rest of your night. You too, thanks for stopping in, and good luck to you in all the weather. So, okay. So I think I'm caught up. If anybody else has questions, go ahead and put them on there, but, so I've run into and we've talked about before. I've got videos out on whether or not the whole quarantine process and that kind of thing. So this is the first time I've ever brought an adult rabbit in that flat out wouldn't eat. So that's been interesting. We got to about day 5 or 6, and it was weird because this buck isn't drinking much water either, and I was really concerned. But he's super active, so I'm not really sure. He must just be super super efficient. Um, as far as, taking in nutrients and things, which is kind of cool. But he wouldn't eat food at all. And then when I'd give him hay, he'd eat part of the hay, but he wouldn't eat pellets. And then all of a sudden, on like day 5 or 6, he just decided, yeah, looks good. And sat there and pounded a whole like 12-ounce bowl of food down. So it happens. That's why I tell everybody, if you're bringing in rabbits, lots and lots of hay in the first couple weeks to make sure they're eating. Manahot esculenta, and I'm probably saying that wrong. One question from Colombia: if I feed my rabbit with weeds, is to grow? Not sure what you're asking there. I'm not sure which weeds in Colombia are okay to feed rabbits to start with, so you'll want to do some research there. Um, some stuff they can have and some stuff they can't. So you might want to kind of see what you've got and what's if it's poisonous, non-poisonous. Some stuff you can feed that you just have to be careful not to overfeed. So you'll probably have to do a little research on what plants you're trying to use, but you should be able to feed most stuff can be fed to rabbits as long as it's fed correctly. Elijah, have you started any seeds or gardening planning? Started my peppers and a few old varieties, tomatoes that take longer to mature. The rest I'll start around the 1st of March. I haven't yet. Uh, my project for the next week is to get the sunroom like done enough to actually finish insulating it to where I can actually put plants out there soon though. I really need to get tomatoes and peppers started by like March 1st for sure because our season is kind of short. I'll be growing a lot of that stuff inside in the greenhouses anyway. But yeah, I haven't had a chance to. I have started laying out the garden, doing some different stuff out there this year and changing some of the box layouts and stuff. But that I've been doing for a couple weeks. I did my whole seed inventory, so I know what I've got. Picked up a few things that I don't have. But other than that, I haven't been able to do anything else with it yet. It's too cold in the sunroom to start seeds, and I don't want to block up the whole house trying to do it when I just took the time to build this nice big sunroom. So hopefully I'm gonna get them out there. But yeah, I haven't been able to do any of it yet. And my friend who lives over in Roseburg is really enjoying sending me pictures about every 3 days, bragging about all the seed starts that she's got and how good they look, and then taunting me with the, well, if you don't get to it, I'll bring you some extra tomatoes. And I love her, but it's like, yeah, yeah, quit bragging. I got it. I got it. Okay. You've got your seed started. So soon though. What old varieties of tomatoes are you doing? I do some heritage stuff, but I want to say what I've got seeds left for that are heritage is like Cherokee Purple and some Black Crims and some Arkansas Traveler, I think is all that I've got left. I admittedly have quite a bit of hybrid stuff left. So that's probably what the garden is going to look like this year. A lot of hybrid stuff. Just I've got the seed for it and it doesn't last forever, so I'm going to go ahead and use a lot of it just to get it out of the packages and stuff. So that's probably what I'm going to do. I'm both excited about gardening season and not excited about gardening season. Like I have a lot of animal pin projects to do and gardening takes up an awful lot of time, but we did pretty much a wretched garden this last year. So definitely going to put more time into it. I've got some berry plants and stuff that still need to be planted and want to try and get a few more fruit trees to put out since it looks like the ones that I planted this back in the fall are still alive and doing okay. Unfortunately, we hit like 50 degrees here not too long ago and they started budding and I got a little worried, but I think they're going to be okay, fingers crossed, since our weather's still pretty mild and we haven't gotten terribly cold. So I'm hoping they're going to make it, but we shall see. Fruit trees are one of those things that's really hard to get in this zone. So Paul Robinson, yellow brandywine, black crim, and ivory pear. I gotta admit, I've never heard of Paul Robinson. I'm gonna have to look that up. The yellow brandywine I know of. I grew the they're not purple, but the redder colored brandywine. I've grown those before. And I'm not big on pear tomatoes, but my girlfriend grows ivory pear. They've got good flavor. I don't know. I don't usually grow pear tomatoes, but I usually do grow like a couple things of cherry tomatoes, like sweet 100s and that kind of stuff, just because they go crazy. And, you know, you can do sun dried tomatoes like already bite sized with them. So that's kind of cool. I'm going to have to look into the heirloom type stuff are you doing besides just the tomatoes out of curiosity. Because I don't do a lot of heirlooms. I should, but I don't. And there we go buffering again. Darn connection. Hmm. Okay, there it goes. Cherry tomatoes are fun. Super or cheap summer chicken feed. You know, I've never thought about that. My chickens are so funny about stuff that when you give them something kind of odd, they don't really enjoy it. So we've tried grains and stuff, and they act like it's out to kill them. And I finally now convinced them that mealworms are not dangerous. Um, I lost that. What did you say? I have no idea. I I think I was just saying I need to look up that Paul Robinson because I've never heard of it. Uh, well, guys, I don't see a whole lot of other questions, so I may wrap this thing up because the buffer fairy is back and it's kind of coming and going again. So if anybody does have any other questions, go ahead and stick them in. Otherwise, I'm probably going to wrap this up here in a minute. But hopefully more videos coming. I know it's been kind of sluggish. I won't have one for tomorrow, but I plan to have one for Wednesday. And then of course nothing for Thursday and then Saturday or Friday. Sorry, Friday I'm working on trying to have the another female farmer Friday video out if I can mesh schedules with another lady for Friday. And then Saturday we might actually get to do an update video. Like I said, we don't have a lot going on, but we do have some stuff that would be worth kind of doing a short little update. Robin, my chickens love mealworms. Yeah, mine don't. They thought I was trying to feed them aliens. So, all right. Anita, late but here. Anita, you are just late enough. I'm probably going to wrap this up. Better late than never, but unless you've got a quick question, I'm probably going to log off because it's kind of buffering and has been the whole time. So, Elijah, have a great night. I will definitely look into those Paul Robinson though. That's interesting because like I said, have never heard of him before. So that's always kind of interesting. Okay, guys. Well, uh, we will be doing another one of these next week. And for our members, Anita, that includes you, for our members, I'm not sure what time. I think I have it at 10 o'clock, but I'll make sure to post that in the members deal on the community page. So Anita, make sure you come on Sunday and bring your question from Utah. Good night to you too, Michael. Ray, one of my pins, I have a ramp to where it separates urine from the pellets. I'm experimenting with high nitrogen urine. That's what I was thinking too. Is it's got to be really kind of high in nitrogen. Well, you can tell me all about how that experiment's going to work out. That's my bigger. I would think heavy salt and heavy nitrogen would be the thing. So. Okay, everybody, that's it for me. I'm gonna wrap and members that we'll see you on the weekend. So have a good night, everybody. Bye bye.